Hey everyone, my mic was muted. That's weird. Hi, welcome back to Telling Tall Tales the Right Way. I'm your host, Heather Asianbi. I'm a journalist, storyteller, and now an author. Woo! Today, we are going to apply the elements of every great story in a little bit different way. Joining me, this is going to be, let me start that again. We're going to apply the elements of every great story for the first time to something that is nonfiction. That is a first. Usually it's, some type of novel or a TV show or whatever. But today we're doing it on a travel series that's playing on the Roku channel. And joining me, so excited, is Dr. Tachi herself from Indie Soup Media. And here she is. Hi.
Hello. I'm wearing my travel hat today since we're talking about travel.
I love that. All right. So today we are talking about it's solo travel with Tracee Ellis Ross. I thought there were more episodes, but there's only 3.
Yeah, there are only 3.
Yeah, because when we were talking about what we were going to do for this episode and you suggested it, I thought, oh my God, do I have to watch like 6 or 8 hours to get into it? But it's only 3. And I was like, oh, that passed in like no time.
That's exactly why I thought that would be a good thing to review, because there are so few episodes right now.
Yes. Yeah. So it's airing on the Roku channel for anybody who is interested in doing that. And plus we'll have the information down in the show notes when this airs on YouTube. But in case nobody remembers, although how could you forget the amazing Dr. Tachi? She and I have talked about, the first time we talked was about Queen Charlotte on Netflix. And then we talked about Survival of the Thickest. And now we are discussing, and those are both obviously fiction shows. And now we are talking about this travel log. Travel? Yes. I would say so. I wasn't sure, what are we calling it? All right, so I'm going to just show you all this brief graphic here. So this is Tracee Ellis Ross. She of Girlfriend, Blackish. She's been in millions and millions of things. She's a multi-hyphenate entertainer and a businesswoman. So in the top photo, she is in Morocco. The middle photo, she goes to Mexico, and then the bottom photo, she is in Spain. She chose these locations because they just always appealed to her. She had never been to Morocco. She had never been to Spain. She had been to Mexico, though, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. But the resort she stayed in Cancun, so she went to the Yucatan. The resort she stayed in Cancun was a super luxurious, all-inclusive kind of a thing. All right. So elements of every great story are amazing, well-defined characters, which is Tracee herself. Plus, there's a lot of supporting players that enter the fields depending on where she's at in each of her countries. And then, what's the world building? Are we immersed in the world where her particular story takes place? So for me, Tracee Ellis Ross is one of those people who I feel like we could sit down and just while away an afternoon, and talk about everything.
I agree. Well, first of all, can we talk about her fashion sense? That is,
I was going to bring, yes. I knew that's where you would want to go first.
Again, because I'm a fashion person myself, I'm always drawn visually to things that are aesthetically pleasing, whether it's home decor, whether it is the exteriors of homes, whether it's the exteriors of people. I'm really drawn to it. And she has such an amazing fashion sense that obviously comes from her background and everything as a model, of course, growing up with her mother who has an amazing fashion sense. I can see where all of that comes from. But here's the thing. Usually she stands out so much because there's so many slovenly people in the U.S. Yes, slovenly.
You're not wrong.
They just dress anyhow.
Yes,
So, and that's fine if that's what moves you, dress anyhow.
yeah.
But she became part and parcel of the whole experience, particularly like in Morocco, because of the fact that there are so many bright colors.
Yeah.
This is the way we dress on a normal basis. So she became a part of it. And the dressing, her fashion sense was amazing, but it didn't stand out as much as usual because now you're amongst contemporaries, if that makes sense, as opposed to, whatever we have here.
No, and I wanted to, that's the first thing I really kind of wanted to talk about, because so often what we wear, what we choose to wear is kind of it helps define our sense of self, right? And so I'm just going to be super personal right now for a second. But earlier this year in July, I went to my dear friend who does Reiki, and then she did like a tarot reading for me. And really what she said is, she's like, I just keep hearing that, women our age in our 50s, we're taught usually to like step back and like let other people, but she's like, you're being told that you need to step forward, that you have to, like, this is not a time to fade away. And, and then we talked a little bit about clothes and everything. And since then, not that I look fantastic today, I have on a sweater because it's chilly. I live in Wisconsin. It's chilly. But what that taught me, what really was, it's not just are the clothes comfortable, because most clothes, unless like they're all binded up and bind you up and everything, they're going to be comfortable, but do they make you feel good? Mm-hmm. And do you look good in them? Mm-hmm. Right? And I don't have I don't even have this much of Tracee Ellis Ross's fashion sense, right? I don't even have that. But what I thought was so interesting was her outfit, like the clothing that she chose to take with her. She didn't wear most of it, right? Because she brought like 4 suitcases for a 4-day stay.
Yeah.
Like for real. But what I thought was interesting is that she closely matched her clothes, not just to where she was going for that particular day or any activities that she was doing, but how they made her feel, and the I guess, for lack of a better word, the image that she was projecting. And I just thought that was it was an interesting lesson that backed up what I learned over the summer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. I 100% agree. And on top of it, I think just on a very general level, this was something, I don't know if you felt the same way, but this is something that I needed. I needed to see somebody go enjoy themselves and relish in what the world offers, particularly, again, on top of slovenly people, we also have a situation going on here right now in the US. And I think it was a good escape, but it also lets you know that the world is so much bigger than your backyard. And it really, if we don't have the travel bug from before, I'll be honest, I watch a lot of travel vloggers on YouTube because YouTube is basically what I watch. So there's so many people that not only become tourists in their own city. I watch a lot of New York City vlogs, but then vloggers who are in Europe, who are in Asia, who are in different parts of Africa, just the world. I love it. And so this gave me those vlog vibes, which I love.
Yeah, so one of the things, aside from the clothing situation, one of the things another theme that I got out of this was you really need to date yourself.
Yeah.
Because you need to really know, like, what is it that you truly like? What is it that you don't like? How can you be comfortable with yourself? And she is incredibly, like, she is her own best friend, right? Mm-hmm. Like, she says all the time, like, I'm okay with myself. I love being by myself. I mean, it doesn't hurt that she can do it in those incredible locations.
Yes.
Right. And the lodging that she secures in Morocco, my mouth fell open. I was like, oh, what? And then Mexico, that was like a whole 1-bedroom apartment that she had.
Stunning.
Oh,
It gives you something to aspire to.
100.
And the thing is now, especially the way things are set up, travel is set up, that's not so far-fetched
No.
for normal individuals. You know, you may not be able to do it by yourself,
Yeah.
but you could grab a few friends or whatever and do the same type of thing. And we see that happening. And I think that Tracee Ellis Ross doing this show and the Roku channel deciding to do this show is just a manifestation of what has already been happening. And now it's just brought to mainstream television or mainstream streaming.
Yeah. One of the things that struck me the most is that she was unapologetic about treating herself with luxury.
Yes.
You know, and it wasn't like, well, you know, if you can't, you know, let's try to go to Morocco on $10, right? It was, I'm going to Morocco and I'm going to immerse myself in the luxury of these moments. I'm going to stay in this beautiful, I don't know if it was a resort or a compound, whatever it was, beautiful location. And then she went out to the desert where she had this incredible like glamping experience.
Yes.
And there was, and I'm not saying, she never really mentioned it, right? She wasn't like, well, she did, I think it was at the end of the Spanish episode, the last one, where she said, you know, I'm very fortunate that I can, you know, travel to these places and experience them in this way, right? But I think fortunate is not necessarily the right term, because even though she is the Diana Ross's daughter,
yes,
like, let's just give a moment for her.
Exactly.
But she has worked hard. She has worked for what she has, right? She's not, you know, some trust fund baby that hasn't had to do anything in her life, right? And so I think that what that showed for me, who would think that going to Morocco is out of my reach, it's really not. It's not out of my reach. For me,
No.
I need a plan and a timeline, right? Like, I need a plan and a savings timeline to get there. But she showed me, again, what you said, what is possible.
Exactly. And I think this is the thing too, if we look at it from a cultural standpoint, women, and Black women in particular, are always being made to feel sorry for success, feel sorry for wearing luxury or using luxury things. In fact, this is, again, because I watch a lot of YouTube and I'm on social media all the time. This is something that I see all the time, where people are just, you know, at them in the comments like, oh, well, why would you not support this type of person? Or why would you? Damn it, let them live. Nobody else, especially with Black women, it's like you don't see anybody else being hammered over the head for their choices. And if luxury is what they choose, then that's fine. And guess what? You're only boiling individuals down to their choices for how they want to enjoy themselves, if that's what you do. And humans are much more complex than that. So I loved to see not only her, to your point, not only her going to the to Morocco, to Spain, to Cancun, not Cancun. It was Cancun. Okay. Yeah. I don't know why. Okay. Yes, Cancun.
And she went to Marbella, Spain, which I know very few cities in Spain. So then, of course, I had to go Google it and be like, what's Marbella?
Yes, exactly. We know the key ones like Ibiza. We know Barcelona. We know the major
Madrid.
Yeah. We always know capital cities, but to be able to not only, and it's not just fortunate enough to go outside of the major cities, it's fortunate enough to expand outside of the major cities, which is you sometimes outside of the comfort zone, right? And experience something and someone's who are new. So I loved that.
I did too. And I really, so in terms of like, Tracee Ellis Ross is like because I would say it's characters, but even in nonfiction, like the people matter, like they have to be well defined and experience some type of change or trajectory. I feel like she did. Unfortunately, in Spain, it's because she got food poisoning.
Yeah, and then so she had to stay in the room for a few days. But silver lining to that cloud, yes, you are someplace and you want to experience it, and she did get to for a little bit. But this teaches you, be careful when you are, just because you're abroad doesn't mean you can just eat any and everywhere.
Right.
Be careful. Use some comment. I'm not saying she didn't, but be careful. And then maybe this is a silver lining in terms of maybe you needed to rest. She's a very busy actress.
She said that.
Yeah, she did say that. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, and she had a beautiful space to rest in. It wasn't like she was in a hostel with 17 other people.
Definitely not a Best Western.
No. It's so I think that could be a silver lining for her. So yeah,
I don't disagree with you. I think that definitely your surroundings. That's why a lot of people who are in the hospital, when they go home, they actually get better, even better because they're at home. But one of the things that I thought was particularly interesting about her trip to Morocco, and this is me having zero idea of like what I would expect, but like, because she did do some research to make sure that the clothing that she wore was more of a modest silhouette for her, to take, to respect the culture of Marrakesh. But it was interesting to me how the main marketplace was set up. It wasn't as crowded as I thought, but then I thought, well, maybe they like shoot people away. I don't know. But just the fact that she was so willing to explore these new textures and smells and just all the sensory things. She was just open to all of it. And I think for Americans in particular, I think this is what I've heard. I've been to like exactly 3 places: Canada, the Bahamas, and Mexico. So I'm not the world traveler, but Americans have a reputation for going to other places and expecting those places to be like America.
Yeah.
Right. And she had zero expectations when she went there. She was willing to take whatever the day brought to her and to be open and so she had an open mind and an open heart.
And that's key. I think if you're going to engage in travel, that's how you have to be. Wow. What gets me is that, I love travel and I love the whole concept of travel. And so many more people are not only traveling, but they're also becoming expats and going to, or, emigrating to other places.
Yes.
As Americans, what makes me a bit is the fact that, like you said, they want and expect for places sometimes to be like America, and they behave like Americans.
That part.
There's a very brash way that Americans behave, and I'm saying this as a blanket. Being here and seeing this, and but that's not everybody. But there are some people that I'm like, well, that's not how you ask for things. This is and then the fact of you're used to barely saying good morning to people. No, I'm sorry. I don't care if that's not you. When you go to another culture, you are a guest in the host culture. You do as they do. 100%. Say good morning.
Yes.
Be friendly.
Yes.
Do what they do. I mean, still keep it, because you're a tourist, and I'm sure you're wearing things that show you're a tourist. So you still have to be cautious when you go to other places, but do as the locals do, and you will have so much more of a rich experience.
Yeah, and be willing to experiment a little bit. I mean, the food situation notwithstanding, right? Like, I can understand being a little bit more careful and not eating from street vendors in other countries, right?
Yes. You don't have the stomach.
Yeah, we don't have it. We don't have. When I say we don't have the intestinal fortitude, I mean that quite literally. We just can't do it. But one of the things I really love too is how much of the locations with her that we got to experience.
Yes.
she did a whole mixology thing in Mexico, which
Yes.
was super cool. She made, I think they made they made margaritas.
They made margaritas. Yes.
It was the first time I'd seen a bartender like demonstrate, like you're going around in a circle.
Yes.
Like kind of out and then towards you at the same time you're shaking it, right? So, which I was like, I have a shaker, I'm going to practice that.
See, so it's like you can take these experiences and recreate them where you are, which is what I love, because it reminded me of, there's a vlogger that I watch who visits Mexico quite often. She goes to Tulum a lot because once Cancun became oversaturated with lots of Americans and foreigners, Tulum, and now Tulum is becoming, but Tulum became that new place. And she was so inspired by her trips to Tulum that when she was buying a new home, there was a lot that you could see was Tulum inspired. And she went to Morocco too.
Yeah.
So that were Tulum and Morocco inspired in the home. So that not only are you going to those places and experiencing, you can take some colors, some culture, some tradition, some grand memories and insert them to inside where you are. And that's what this reminded me of with Tracee Ellis Ross, the openness that she had to experience these new things. I'm sure she took some stuff home with her, and I'm sure she's going to implement that in terms of what she does normally.
Yeah, well, she bought a whole rug from Morocco. She brought
a rug from Morocco, but I mean, aside some of the things that we did not see.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
No, I'm wondering too, like how many hours of footage did they have to cut it, like, because I can imagine, like, in Mexico, for instance, she pretty much stuck to the resort. She didn't venture too far.
She didn't go too far out.
It seemed very extensive, but she was using she used each location for a purpose.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Mexico was strictly about relaxation.
That was our
exploration. It wasn't about, doing anything other than spending time with herself in a beautiful, sunny location away from the hustle of her regular life.
Yes.
And so that was Mexico. So we didn't really get to see a lot of any of Cancun.
Cancun, yeah.
It was fine. Although I will say that when she was at the airport and she's like, I'm at the airport, I'm like, oh, I think I came out that
door. Okay. So you've been to Mexico. You went to Playa del Carmen.
Yep,
right.
Twice.
So did you see similarities with your time in Playa, as even though Cancun is a different city, it's still the peninsula? Did you see similarities?
Yes and no. I think that the resort she was at was super duper luxurious, right? Like it was one of the more exclusive ones. But there's a highway that runs from Cancun down to Tulum, and I assume it obviously goes further than that. But a lot of times, like when I was in my transportation to get from Cancun to Playa, the entrance to the resort is right off this main highway, right? So the resort is like right there, and then they pull this big gate opens, you pull in, and then the gate closes, and you're in the resort. I did not stay at one of those because I was with a friend of ours, in an actual like residential place. But yeah, they're like, and each one is uniquely designed. So they don't look anything alike, like hers had kind of like pinkish walls or whatever.
Yes.
You'll see ones that are all white. You'll see ones that are wrought iron or stone or whatever, right? Like they're all uniquely designed, and you pull right off the highway. And they are almost exclusively along the east side because that's where the Caribbean Sea is.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And people drive crazy down there, I'm just going to say.
I'm sure. I'm sure they do. They drive crazy here, so I'm sure.
They do. But what are a couple of other things that struck you?
You mean in general or from a specific episode?
Let's go with specific episode, Mexico.
Okay. I just again I was looking at her outfits and the way that she was able to blend yet stand out was something that struck me. So for people, your viewers who don't know, I love fashion. I adore fashion. Everything is about that to me. So I was looking at that. And then the secondly is the architecture. So that was something that struck me. And so Cancun is tropical, obviously. So it looks very different than some place like a Mexico City, which people have said is very modeled after Europe, right? It's very European.
It's considered, I think, a colonial city. That's the term they use.
Yes. Though I hate that term. Yes, that's what it looks like. So the tropical nature of things, the colors, and the architecture that really start. And then, of course, food.
Can we talk about the hummingbird?
The hummingbird. Yes, I was like, what is that? It was like it was two pieces, I think. This hummingbird.
Yeah. Okay. So okay. So she goes to eat at one of the restaurants in the resort, and the bartender she's like, why is there a hummingbird on my table?
Yes.
Because she orders this specific kind of drink that her waiter has suggested. And I don't know how he did it. It was magic. He mixes the things and it forms a bubble.
Yes.
And then, but I don't know how the hummingbird was triggered.
I'm wondering if, because inside the bubble was smoke, correct?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if there's some chemical reaction with the smoke that kind of made the hummingbird kind of like, they have those. Have you ever seen the candle carousels? And it's a carousel, and you light the votive or the tea light,
it makes it
spin.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm wondering if it's that same type of physics going on there.
I can okay, that makes sense. So she's got her glass, the bubble filled with smoke, and then there's this hummingbird. So it's on like people can't see my hands. I'm talking with my hands. And it's sitting on a wooden, like a wooden plate, for lack of a better term. And the hummingbird is here, like leaning over the drink. And then the hummingbird comes down and poop, pops the bubble and all the smoke comes out.
Yes.
Nice presentation. Hey, everyone. Oh, I forgot my glasses. Thank you for joining Dr. Tachi and I for this first part of our conversation about the solo travel series with Tracee Ellis Ross on the Roku channel. I hope that you'll join us next week for part 2. I'll see you.